Hi, my name is Katherine Autin. I am the owner and founder of Parkinson Partners. I've been an entrepreneur, and I consider myself an entrepreneur who is a serial entrepreneur, starting many different businesses. In 37 years, I've owned a number of different businesses. And along the way, I met Charlene Burke, and we have become buddies, but she has also been able to take my business to a different level. And what I find about that, most people say, oh, but you've been in business so many years. Well, yes, but you could never have the same perspective that you would get from someone else. You are having blinders on sometimes. And as an entrepreneur, you need to have different insight to be able to go to next levels. So when my company was at a point where we really wanted to take it to a different level and get some perspective, and I had two independent contractors that I wanted to get on the same page, I contacted Charlene and I said, okay, we really need to sit down. I'd like to hire you to help us through looking at where we are and where we can go. Some steps that we can take that would be, okay, here's what you really need to focus on and wait for this next part. Because sometimes we all try to do everything at once, and that just never works. Best laid plan. So we met with Charlene and we had a great meeting. It was wonderful, but there were three things that came out of it that really took me to a different level. And because I'm not a nonprofit, but I'm working in an area as a patient advocate and a Parkinson's expert, where we were trying not to overcharge. And I think realizing our value was what Charlene brought to the table, is that there really aren't folks out there that are doing what we're doing with the passion and the expertise. So part of what we did was to look at our fee structure, where else we could set up different services, and that was great because I was charging a certain amount and I thought it was too little, but I didn't want to try to charge more. And after working with Charlene and sitting in there for a few hours and discussing it, I realized we really need to be able to grow, we needed to be able to charge more. Because this is not a full-time business the way that I run the business. As a patient advocate, it's as needed. So I can be in the hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning for 4 hours, or I can be at a facility for 1 hour, or I might not see a client for 2 months. So it all depends. And what we came up with was a plan to increase the hourly fee and to also still include what we were, which was we charge for mileage because we never know how far we're going to have to go. We also came up with the idea when I was meeting with people for free to give them an individual consult and give them about an hour free time. I realized that in talking with Charlene that we really needed to charge something for that because I'm out there at someone's home and I'm also using gasoline and my time, and it's taking away from other client time. So that was changed, and we started charging a fee for even just having a consultation as to whether or not they wanted to hire us or consider us to be a patient advocate for themselves or their family member. And then the third thing was to come up with an idea of how to take things from a different level. We were doing support groups for Parkinson, and to come up with an idea of, okay, so you've got this many, can you do more? And what does that look like? What do you need to have in place to make that happen? So part of what I developed as a result of working with Charlene, and she doesn't know this, but I put together a 6-month agreement for every one of my support groups, because very often we had facilities hire us, and then 2 months later they would say, well, no, we're not going to keep you on or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute, we've already put all this time and effort into promoting it, telling other folks about it in the community, networking, etc. And that has worked. We now have 6 support groups, And it varies. We do go from 4 to 6, somewhere in there. But we have a program now that we didn't have before. So a lot of working with Charlene for us was getting our ducks in a row, deciding what the priority things were, and coming up with a fee structure that we thought would work and a concept of where we wanted to go with it. Now, we still have a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. What I am doing is something that pretty much nobody else in the world is doing. And that's okay. I'm batting my head against the wall, but with Charlene's help, we really took another step. And I encourage you to work with Charlene in that whether you've been an entrepreneur for 100 years, it does not matter. Having someone with a different perspective, and Charlene's very good at getting to the bottom line and getting you to take action. And that's very important. So I wanna thank Charlene. I really appreciate what you brought to the table to help me and my team. And we're taking more steps now, as you know, so I'm very excited about where we're going. And thank you.